Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Space Engineers. Oh, I guess I was just digging through stone. That doesn't hurt anything. So, if you remember last episode, I had started, basically I found a really nice asteroid, and I'd started to collect up some of the materials so that way I could make some type of storage container. And oh, there's some iron. And I'm here inside the asteroid that's basically, or meteor, or whatever you want to call it. I guess meteors are a little bit smaller, so this would be an asteroid, I guess. So I'm inside the asteroid that's right near my station, which is right there, 54 meters away, so it's not too far. And I'm sitting in here and I'm collecting up some of the resources that I had ended up leaving last episode. And there's a whole bunch of iron here. Nice. So I'm just collecting this stuff up so that way I can go ahead and put it in my refinery. Let's just make sure that I collect up everything, and I can always come back a little bit later. Now, I don't really know what stone is used for, but I mean there's plenty of it around, so I'm definitely not going to have a shortage of it. Iron, on the other hand, is really useful. It's probably going to be the main staple of what I need to collect. Yeah, I think I got a good amount. So let's go back up here and let's look at how the stuff that we were refining is doing. Go ahead and take our jetpack off. Now I did change my game type, so that way this continues to run while I'm in the interface. Now that's a catch-22. While it does run while I'm in the interface, which is nice. However, let's just move it all. However, the downside to it is that so does everything else. So, like my nuclear reactor. That'll run while I'm in the interface. Same thing as my suit. My life support systems will continue to run. So, it's kind of a trade-off. Now, you can see here, let's go ahead and open this back up. I have lots of iron. A whole lot of iron. I have a decent amount of gold, not too much. A good amount of silicone, cobalt. It's going through the nickel right now. So let's see, there's nickel, and then I didn't need the magnesium, I just happened to find it. So let's look now at what we can make. So we can make a whole bunch of different parts. And if you remember, we were trying to make this small cargo container. So let's look at what else we need. We have the tubes, the construction components, and the interior plates. So we're going to need a motor, 2 motors, 2 computers, and 1 display. So let's go back into here and go into the production. We're going to need 2 computers. We're going to need 1 motor. Or was it 2 motors? Let's do 2 motors and 1 display. And that should be everything that we need. So what we should be able to do is just go ahead and drag all of this stuff into our inventory. Now I don't need to have everything on me before I make it, but it just makes it easier. So let's go ahead and go back here, and we want a small cargo container. So let's go ahead and grab that and put it on our bar here. And you can see now we can basically place it somewhere. So I think where I'd like to place it is actually just right here. And it just puts the frame. So now I have to actually build it. So I pull out my blowtorch, and I can come over here, and let's go ahead and start working on it. And you can see there on the right side, it tells us the percentage, and it also tells us what items we need. Now, the good thing is we had all the items in our inventory, so it's just going to go ahead and put everything together. There we go. And let's go ahead and just move our buttons to 5. And now we can go ahead and open up this here, and it's a small cargo container, and it holds so much more than this assembler now. So what we can go ahead and do is we can just move stuff over. So let's just grab all the stuff that's done right now. It'll continue to go through like the nickel and stuff like that. And what we can do is just go ahead and throw it right here into our small cargo container. And this will be nice for different parts, the base materials like we have here, and anything else we want to put in here. So I think this episode, what I'd like to do is, I seen this right here, and I'm thinking that this is the start of a ship, but I want to get rid of it. So all I have to do is pull out my grinder and go ahead and break it down. And what that'll do, let's go ahead and hop back down on the ground here. So if we look in our inventory, we now have that one steel plate. But that's not, you know, I didn't want to leave it up there. I want it down here where I can actually make something. So I think what I'd like to make is I'd like to start a new small ship. And it'll give us basically one landing gear that we can place down. So let's go ahead and place it, well, let's do it out here. Oh, you need construction components. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's make some construction components. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe our base materials might be better in the assembler, and then we can put stuff that we've made here in our storage. So let's do that. Let's put this stuff back here. So let's throw all of this stuff. Now the plate I'm going to keep on me because it's a component that's already been made. So if we go to production, we're going to need, what did it say, one construction component. So let's go ahead and throw that in our inventory. And let's go ahead and try doing that again. So let's go back over here and we're trying to make a new small ship. There we go. So we start with the landing gear. So let's go ahead and go over this and it'll tell us what we need. We already have the construction component and we already have one steel plate. We're going to need a motor and a large steel tube. Now I could go ahead and start working on this, but as soon as it gets to the tube it tells me that I don't have it. So let's get the components for that. But before I do that, I think what I'd like to do is just go ahead and get a whole bunch of steel plates. So let's make 100 of them. We're also going to need a couple of motors. So let's make a couple of those. We're going to need some large steel tubes. We already know that, so let's make 10 of those. And I don't know if there's anything else. I'm probably going to need some construction components, so let's just tell it to make 100 of those. And we can move what it has made into our inventory. And I know I'm going to need these steel plates. And I'm going to let that run for the moment. So let's finish off this landing gear here. And it's kind of bright. But you can see it's making it piece by piece and putting everything together. So there we go. Fully completed. So now what we're going to need is something to add on to it. So let's get a light armor block, because I don't really need heavy armor blocks. And you can see here heavy armor blocks require 5 steel plates. Keep in mind that we're making the light ship, so it's going to be the one on the bottom, or the small ship. So let's do light armor blocks. And I'm going to change the color. Let's do green. So let's go ahead and place one right here. And we're going to have to start building our ship. So I think I'm going to start with a nice little base here. So let's go ahead and get just like so. And that should work pretty well. So let's go ahead and get these built. And they only require 1 steel plate. So it's not too hard. It doesn't take very long. and it looks kind of cool. Now these do have like basically connected textures. See there how these two connect, and then once I put this one on, it'll go ahead and do the same thing. So it looks really cool. And I want to go ahead and put on my jetpack just to get on top. Let's go ahead and see if we can. Oh, it's not going to let me stay on top, so I might have to just keep my jetpack on for this piece right here. So there we go. We at least have a base. And there's a couple other components that we want to add to this. First, we're going to need some kind of cockpit. And I think the small ship cockpit, this one works really well. So let's go ahead and add that one in. And I'm going to need to probably fly. So let's put the cockpit, let's have it face this direction. So I'm going to need an interior plate. Looks like I'm also going to need some displays and some computers and some bulletproof glass. That's something we haven't made yet. So let's go in here and let's go ahead and grab the construction components that we had made. So I'm going to need a couple of displays. So let's just get 5. I'm also going to need some bulletproof glass. So I'm going to tell it to just make 100. That's probably more than I need, but it works. And just because, I'm going to do 5 more displays. I'm also going to need a couple of computers, so let's just go ahead and get 15 of those. And we're going to need some interior plates. Now, interior plates are going to be one of those things that we use quite a bit of. So it doesn't hurt to have a couple of extras. And that should work for now. Let's see how this is. Okay, this is still going through our stuff. So let's see if we can place this now. So let's go ahead and place it right there. Now we can place it. Perfect. So let's go ahead and build the cockpit. Now, right now it's just a basic ship. So it's not really going to do much. I mean, it's not going to do anything. We can hop in it, but that's not going to help us. Oh, it's starting to take shape. Now it looks pretty good. I wonder if it's going to turn green too. I didn't tell it I wanted it green. I guess it really doesn't matter. Oh well. So we have that. We're probably going to want some landing gear towards the back. So let's go ahead and add just a few more of these plates to go ahead and basically give it a back. Yeah, that should be good. Switch back out, and I should have these plates on me, so it shouldn't be too hard to just go and get everything set up. Okay, so now that's finished, and I mean, it's nothing special. It's a basic ship, right? So we wanted more landing gear, right? Because it's not going to be stable on just one. So let's go ahead and see if we can plant down this landing gear. I want to kind of crouch. See if I can plant it down here. I might not be able to get it on the bottom. Well, what we can do is we can always put the landing gear last. So let's look at some other things that we're going to need. We're going to need some thrusters, because we're going to have to be able to basically pick what direction we want to go. And I don't need the cockpit anymore. We're also going to need, well, let's see. I know we're going to need reactors. So, I wonder if we can do a large reactor. I wonder what a large reactor as opposed to a small one does. We don't really need gravity generators, and solar panels, I think I'm just going to stick with a reactor. So let's do a large reactor. Let's see how big. Stop crouching. Oh, that's pretty big. Well, I guess it works. Right here. Right? I might need to move it. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now it looks like it takes up 2 spots. So I can't really... I guess I can get it right there. So I want to turn it though. So let's go ahead and just see if we can turn this, because I want to be able to access it from the side. That should work. And let's get that made, because we're going to need some way to power our ship. And it looks like I'm missing some metal grids, some reactor components, and 25 computers. So I'm only going to be able to build this up so far before I actually have to go grab some more stuff. So I'm going to need some metal grids, reactor components. Let's see. So reactor components. I'm going to need some silver for that. Now these metal grids I can go ahead and start making. I think I needed some computers too. So I'm just going to tell it to go ahead and make a whole bunch. And I'm probably going to need some of these too. So I'm going to need some looks like I'm going to need some platinum and some silver. Well, in the meantime, we can go ahead and grab these out and the computers. Go ahead and throw these with the rest of the stuff that we have. And I'm going to recharge my life support here. So let's see what we can at least... Yeah, see, that's perfect, because I wanted it to face to the side. So that way I could, you know, go ahead and put uranium in the side rather than having it in the back. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind, is these little yellow doors. Now, unfortunately, it does look like we've kind of run out of what we can actually put in here without collecting some different materials. So let's look at what else we can put on here. I know I wanted some thrusters, and this large reactor should be enough. So let's get rid of that. Now, some of the other things that I probably wanted was every ship really needs a gyroscope. And that's basically what helps keep you stable. So let's go ahead and throw that right here. And we really only need one. The other thing, I could use some spotlights. And I also want an ore detector, because I want to be able to tell if there's basically ore that I'm going after. So let's put that there. Yeah, that should work pretty well. And I did want some thrusters. It's starting to take shape. Let's see of these parts what we can actually put together. Looks like I'm going to need some motors and a couple more steel plates. I think I used up most of what I had. Yeah, that's not going to be too bad though. So 2 motors and a couple steel plates. What about you? I'm going to need some yeah. So I'm going to need a couple a motor there, some more steel plates, and some detector components. So it looks like definitely motors and steel plates at least. So let's go ahead and just get 20 motors. That should work. And I'm also going to need some steel plates. And I'm going to make 100 of those, because those are pretty common. And bulletproof glass. Wait for these steel plates to finish up here. And it looks like it's still going through some of my materials, which is good. I mean, it's always good to have your refinery doing something. So it looks like right now it's going through some silicon. So that should be really good, because that's going to come really in handy when I need some bulletproof glass. Okay. So the gyroscope is finished. And for here, I know I need a detector. Yeah, so I can't really do anything until I get the detector components. Now, I also do want those thrusters. So let's see. I'm going to need thrusters in every direction. But first, I think I want to expand this out a little bit. So maybe it's not a bad thing that I couldn't put my landing gear just yet. And I think what I want to do is I want to put these kind of like this on top. So let's go ahead and hop up a little bit. And let's do a few more plates here. And one more row should get us pretty even. Oh, I didn't want that one there. So what I can do to get rid of that is just grab my grinder and go ahead and hit it real quick. Yeah, that should work. So we just have to go and get these all built. I wish there was another way to do this, like maybe one of the things that I was talking to Cage about was it would be really cool. Now, obviously, at this stage of the game, I wouldn't be able to, but it'd be really cool if you could get like a construction robot where you laid out how you wanted stuff built and give him the materials, and he would go ahead and weld everything for you. So, who knows? Maybe that's something in the future. I mean, to be honest, this game is still in alpha, so who knows? So this will help protect the reactor and the gyro from being hit if I happen to, swing into it or something. So let's go ahead and look at where we want these thrusters. Now, I'm going to have to rotate them. So let's do a couple. I know I'm going to need a couple forward thrusters. So let's do 4 forward thrusters. I'm also going to need some for maneuvering. So I'm going to need some up and downs. Oh, looks like I need some steel tubes. Let's go grab those. And small steel tubes is one of those that I'm going to use quite frequently too. So it doesn't hurt to make about 100 of them. So this will be my up thrusters. Oh, I need large steel tubes. Oh. Well, okay. So let's make 100 of those. And that should do it for right now. I didn't know that I had any large steel tubes on me. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and flip these around, and let's do these as the thrusters that push us down. So we have up, down, and forward. So we're also going to need backwards and left and right. So a good way to do that is going to be right here. And I kind of want to try to keep everything... I might not be able to do it that way. I want to try to keep everything as compact as possible. So let's do... I just want to kind of keep things inside the body line if possible. So let's go ahead and flip these around. And we're doing just like that. So that's left and right. And we're also going to need to go backwards, but I think I'm going to wait to put those on. And since I have those where I do, I can go ahead and put these armor pieces in here. So everything's nice and compact. Yeah, looks pretty good. So I'm going to need some thrust components. Yeah, and I don't have any of those. Well, let's at least get these started. Now, the more thrusters that I put on here, the faster it's going to go in whatever direction. So if you notice, I have 4 going forward. So that means that I should be able to go forward a whole lot faster than I go left or right or up or down. So the reason that I'm getting these started is because when you start them, it puts all of the materials that you need, that you have currently on you, basically into a stockpile for it. So I don't have to worry about, do I have the construction components or the steel plates or anything like that. As long as I basically started them, those will go ahead and be part of the mix. So let's go ahead and hop up in here. Let's see if I can get... Oh, not here. You know what? I might have to remove this armor and finish. Go ahead and build this one first. Now we should be able to go ahead and plop one more. And basically that just gives it a little more structural integrity with these thrusters. So let's see what I need for thrust components. Gravity generators, thrust components. So looks like I'm going to need some platinum for that. So I need platinum, and... oh, there it is, silver. Yeah, so I'm going to need some of that stuff before I can finish off my ship. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and store. Remember I said that I'm going to use these storage for the components that I have. So that way it's not taking up space in my assembler. And if I do end up with an excess of different ingots in here, then I can go ahead and take stuff out. But it looks like right now it's not doing too bad. It's about a third full, and this will put it up to about half. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and refill my suit here, and then I'm going to go find some platinum and some silver. And I know it's up there. I've seen it. So I'll go ahead and collect up that stuff, and I will be back. So I went and grabbed some platinum and some silver, and I even grabbed some more uranium because my system here was starting to run out. With all this processing, it uses a lot of power. So you can see here, now we're at least back up to 1 hour fuel time. So, unfortunately guys, I do think this is going to be a good wrapping up point for this episode. Next episode, what we can do is we can come back and we can finish off this little ship here. Finish putting the landing gear and finish the thrusters. Remember, we still need thrusters that go forward, or that go basically backwards. So, yeah, you know what? We might even be able to go ahead and put these on here. I think, let's see, yeah, they're not going to stick out any farther than anything else. So let's go ahead and I'm going to need a couple steel tubes. So let's grab 2 steel tubes at least and go ahead and put those on there, so that way we remember that that's where they go. Now remember, we do need to finish off some of the component. Oh, I need large steel tubes. I keep doing that. Let's go ahead and throw those back and grab the large ones. Now, remember, there are still some components that we have to finish up. Like the reactor. The gyroscope's finished, but the reactor, this sensor here, and then there's a couple other things that I'd like to put on here. So next episode, hopefully all of my materials here should be done and finished processing. Looks like we got a good amount of uranium. That's good because we're going to need it to power our ship too. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with that, I will see you guys later.